It was a dreadful day in Tallahassee, I can tell you that much.
It was back November of freshman year. It was a game day.
So it was the North Alabama football game.
Where Jordan Travis snapped his leg in half.
The game Jordan Travis broke his leg.
One where Jordan Travis broke his leg.
Starting quarterback for Florida State on a run, taking on North Alabama.
Like, how could anything get any worse? We're about to go undefeated. Now we're down our quarterback, going to play UF. So we're like, all right, we need to drown out our sorrows tonight, you know? Like, let's go out.
Went to the bar, and there was probably a group of like 10 of us at the bar.
One of them texted me and was telling me that I should not go because it was not very fun. And so I had my friends go to the bar, and I stayed behind in the dorm.
We were hanging out in the country bar, having a good time.
Doing a bit too much drinking, to say the least.
Cool guy we start hanging out with. We've been hanging out with him for a while. He tells us he's 25. He's looking back, he probably wasn't 25. But after a while, he said to us, hey, me and some buddies are having like a bonfire, coolers of beer, dirt bikes, trails, like, come on.
That's like the equivalent of telling a little kid, he's like, yo, there's candy in my van, you know? Like, let's go for a ride.
And me and my other friend, Dom, were like, all right, sweet. Hopped in the truck.
All I remember is waking up in the back of a truck, kind of looking around, you know? I'm like, all right, like, what the hell, where am I right now? I look right next to me, there's a dog, and I'm like, hey buddy, where am I? I look in the front seat and it's Mike and the guy, you know, they're chatting it up about some country music.
I love country music.
So now I start looking around, I'm starting to kind of come back to reality. And I notice we're kind of swerving a bit, you know?
He's driving crazy, he's way more hammered than I thought. He's chugging drinks, throwing it out the window.
He's like, hey, watch this. He starts throwing beers out the window, you know? And so the more talking that goes on, I start to like piece together. I'm like, all right, the guy that's driving he's slurring his words quite a lot. And so now I'm like starting to freak. I'm like, all right, like I've never been in the car with someone who's just hammered. This is horrible.
I'm like, all right, man, like you've been driving a little longer than you said. Can you pull over, let us out, or like take us back? 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes.
And then the topic starts to shift a little bit. He's like, have you guys ever done time? I'm like, no. He's like, no, I've never done time. He's like, have you? He's like, yeah. We're like, well, what'd you do? He's like, I killed someone.
Acting weird, he's telling us stories of him in prison, he's killed people. Eventually I see the Florida-Georgia state line. I'm like, all right, dude, like, we've gone way too far. Like, you gotta take us back or something. He's like, oh, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And I look back to Dom, who's in the back seat, and he flashes his phone at me. He's on the phone with 911. And then that's when I realized, like, oh boy, we're in a situation.